This is Figure Sold Separately, episode 210. Bro, do you even buttle? November 19th, 2018.
Mad balls, gross for one, gross for all. We play with a mad ball, they're gross, funny, yucky, sick. There's 8, so you can take your pick. We throw, catch, it's fun. There's so much gross in every one. Freaky fun is what they're for. There's so much ugly, so much more. Gross for one, gross for all. We play with a mad ball. We play with a mad ball. We play with a mad ball. Mad ball.
Freaky fun for everyone, sold separately from Amtoy.
Mad ball.
So I just found out that one of my favorite guests that we've had on this podcast, Adam Copeland, is on the show Vikings.
I know. How did you find that out?
Oh my God, you just told me. And it was so amazing. It made my night.
Yeah.
He's our edgiest guest.
Oh, Jesus.
Bump.
Yeah, Adam Copeland he's a recurring character on Vikings, kind of like how he was a recurring character on
Haven, but a bigger role.
I think it's a bigger role on Vikings.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Yes.
He plays himself.
He plays himself. The Canadian Norse god.
Yeah. Which, of course, then Ken started singing the VeggieTales Viking song. Are you gonna bless us with the rendition?
How does it go? I want.
Come on.
Well, I do the Larry part, so you have to do the Bob part.
We're literally doing the whole VeggieTales thing, or at the beginning of the song, but I don't want to sing. But come on, the kids will love it. Come on.
So I'm going to sing both parts? Okay, I'll sing both parts.
Just do what you
We're
do.
Vikings, what do you know? The terrors of the sea. We're Vikings, wherever we go, pillaging happily. We're Vikings, there can be no ambiguity.
No,
That's all we got.
No, but Ken has this whole series of taking really fantastic songs and putting them over gritty shows. So we'd like to do a mashup of the new season of Vikings, which comes out in just a couple of days.
And it's on History, right?
Yeah.
History Channel?
And I'd like to hear it
historical.
with yeah.
Air quotes.
Exactly. And so I'd like to see the new Vikings intro, but with that over it. Ken, you've had some others that you'd like to kind of...
Ken is getting good with Adobe Premiere. Maybe he could work that out.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things that Cartu and I have been doing is watching, we've watched like one episode, but we went to see Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Yes.
Because Teen Titans Go is hilarious. What?
Yeah, it's really good.
Teen Titans Go to the movies was really, really fun. And then immediately watched, because this happened on the same day that came out on digital. So we watched that on digital and then immediately watched the DC app premiere of Titans, which is their like live action version of the Teen Titans mythos, which is incredibly dark.
Yeah, super dark and gritty.
And it's really bizarre. Like, it's kind of like watching your brain shift gears without the clutch to see like that, like really extreme. This is like, it's like watching Adam West. It's like Adam West's Batman followed immediately by like The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Oh man.
So it's really like it's very different takes.
If Adam West actually sang songs, like if his version of Batman was a musical or had musical numbers in
so
it.
it's like popping that parking brake.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really a very different type of show. And they're both kind of cool. Like it's at least so far. Titans is not quite as ridiculously ruthless as it looked like it was going to be.
Yeah, not quite. It's like you're gritty, but you're not on a channel that actually lets you do anything super gritty.
Right. Okay.
Well, they can do whatever they want. They're on an app, but
their target audience is younger.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they drop F-bombs and kill people and stuff. So there's stuff like that.
So it's really hardcore.
But it's very strange seeing like Starfire kill somebody in like just ruthlessly incinerate somebody after like watching her rap about her
costume
and stuff.
Right.
Great fodder for another mashup, though, of a
Mashup.
silly song
Yeah.
over a gritty intro.
That might happen.
So the man with the dulcimer tones and the amazing pipes is
The dulcet tones.
dulcet tones. Maybe that's what I
The
meant.
dulcimer is
think-
an instrument.
I'm tired right now. I know dulcimer is an instrument.
Show title, Dulcimer
Dulcimer
Tones.
tones. That is that's Ken. Ken, where can people find you?
Oh, usually at home,
In front of his computer,
crying into a pint of ice cream.
I hate you. So,
and working on Adobe Premiere.
Sometimes letting time get away from me. Also on Twitter at multiverseavl.
awesome. What about you, Carly?
You can find me on Instagram at cartu.d2 or in the kitchen.
Where are you now?
Everybody,
He's been
women,
playing a lot of
women belong
video
in the
games
kitchen.
set in the 1800s.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been punching a lot of suffragettes lately.
I have not punched a single. I'll have you know that I helped them with their cause.
Oh, high five.
Yes.
Bravo.
I'm changing your quote on your profile on the website to "I've not punched a single suffragette."
Hey, can I?
The bar is really low here.
Yeah. Can I change subject for just a second?
Yes,
So we're recording this in y'all's apartment.
it is.
Can you explain to me why there is an entire plastic bin drawer full of rubber duckies to my left? What is this?
Ask me no
Labeled
questions.
Miscellaneous.
What would you call it?
It's labeled miscellaneous, but it's full of rubber ducks.
Those
It
are
is
our
full of
miscellaneous rubber ducks. That's not all of them, Matt.
Yeah,
Those are the
pull
ones
it out.
those are the ones that don't fit in another category.
It's full of rubber ducks.
Yeah, it is. It's,
Oh, wait, where's Gertie? Did Gertie come running over when I
She
did that?
will,
She
yeah.
did. Gertie came running over when I did that. She's like, I'm sorry, did you call?
oh,
Now I know why you have to have them in a drawer.
yeah.
This is some
'Cause
good
she
radio,
would-
you guys.
She would, yeah. So we a few months ago we got a washer and dryer,
Okay.
and those drawers used to live in our laundry closet because we were using it for storage.
Okay.
And
I don't think that's his. I don't think
That's
the
not
drawer
where
was
I
really
really-
his.
yeah.
I don't think the crux of his question was.
oh, okay, good point. Good
was
point.
the
Good point.
Of where they are in your apartment that concerns me. I'm just like wondering why.
I mean, Matt, don't you
George-
have a
George,
drawer
like, my-
full of
Rubber
rubber
ducks?
duckies?
Matt's
You
drawer
don't?
of rubber ducks is in the bedroom.
If you know what I mean.
I mean,
Although you've seen my place.
Actually, Matt's place is all one room. Yeah, it's all very nebulous.
It's in a studio.
It's a dorm. No.
I got nothing for you.
You just have a box or a drawer of rubber duckies.
In past lives, I collected duckies, and I can't quite shake the habit. So occasionally, they still find their way to me, and I can't not give them a good home, which is
Did you
a
just
plastic
explain
drawer.
it to me as in past lives I collected rubber duckies,
Yeah.
so now I'm addicted to it.
They all have names.
No,
What?
they don't.
Well, what about the big one I just pulled out? He has to have a name.
No, it doesn't have a name.
Did you name your big one?
It's so stupid, but I'm still laughing so hard.
If you pull
You
it,
don't
if you
deserve that laugh, but somehow you got it.
if you pull it out, it has to have a name. Says Matt.
The big one has to have a name.
Yeah.
Oh.
Matt, you
This
realize
one goes out to all the
we've been
12-year-olds that listen to our show.
Yeah, we've been recording here for like
year.
a year.
Yeah, a year.
And we've had a washer and dryer for like 6 months.
And that drawer of rubber ducks has been there
The
that
whole time.
Yeah, but I mean, I just now noticed it. So
And we've recorded like twice in the last 6 months. So,
Yeah.
sorry, everybody.
one of the things that
Wait, Matt didn't get to introduce himself.
Oh, hi, I'm Matt. You can find me at
I think he
NCMattJ.
introduced himself just fine. They know everything they need to know about
That's right.
Matt.
That's
If
right.
you want to see pictures of my giant duck, it's at ncmatj.xxx.
Giant duck is what Matt autocorrects to.
You program that into somebody's phone. Like every time they try to say Matt, it's like giant duck. Yeah, at NCMatchJ on Twitter and at NCMatchJ828 on Instagram.
Nice. All right, now you may continue, Ken.
I don't want to anymore.
Wow.
One of the gags in Teen Titans Go to the Movies is lampooning how everything gets some kind of a spin-off or something. Mm-hmm. And the premise of the movie, for those of you who the handful of you who may not have seen it, is that Robin, who's the leader of the Teen Titans, is really cranky because
guy or girl, Robin.
Robin, like the
Guy.
Robin.
Robin's can be used for
the superhero Robin, who's Batman's sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
gotcha.
You know, the one on Teen Titans.
Yeah, continue.
He's the leader of the Teen Titans.
You're such a dick.
and is cranky because he hasn't been featured in a movie in this universe, which is really kind of strange because, like, in real life he's been in plenty of movies, but everybody's getting him. And one of the gags is that they go to a premiere, and during a film premiere, and during the trailers, they do trailers for like some like fictional spin-off movies, but one of them is that like the Batmobile is getting its own movie, and like
and
basically it's like
and
everybody but Robin is getting there. Yeah. and Alfred is getting his own movie. And that's one of the
I would watch the shit out of an Alfred movie.
Well, good news.
Noise.
because one of the gags is that shortly in one of the things that I guess one part of Warner Brothers was not talking to the other part of Warner Brothers, because between the time they made this movie and the time it was released, Warner announced that they're doing a television show called Pennyworth, which is
a TV it's a CW.
It's a TV show about Alfred, as he, I guess, in his younger years, learning to buttle, I guess.
Wait, is it really the word buttle?
I guess that's what
a butlering. Let's go with butlering because I think it sounds better.
Okay.
I like. Would you?
I imagine a butler buttles.
What is the verb of what a butler does? I mean, he just serves. So serving.
He's not a server.
No, he's not a server. Can
butler.
I ask Siri?
A butler buttles.
Yeah.
He's a butler.
I don't think she'll know.
Hey Siri, what does a butler do?
Here's what I found on the web for what does a butler do.
Her series is a
sexy Australian guy.
Oh, yeah, totally. No, like what's the verb for butler? He's not gonna know.
Okay, I found this on the web for what's the verb for butler.
Crikey! Did you see what I found on the web?
Oh my god, it is buttle.
Oh wow, is it?
Yeah.
Look, my little Sheila. What I found on the web is that it's a
serve
bottle.
or act as butler.
Nobody ever.
Buttle.
Nobody
That's
ever
some
listens
kind of
to me.
obscure fucking English bullshit.
Well,
That of course Ken would know. He's like wordsmith.
They're doing a TV show that will teach you exactly what buttling is.
Yeah,
I think
this is about to become the most Googled word
I think they need
of
to
2019.
I think they need to call the TV show Buttle.
I'm wondering if it's going to be more like. I wonder if it's going to be like Gotham meets Downton Abbey.
I would watch that so hard.
Yeah.
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 He'll be like what like. Well, and I know the thing in the comics now is that Alfred was once like some kind of a secret agent. I'm not really one of the big like. He's always got to be, or he's
007 Batman, because he's British, right? In a lot of incarnations,
he's British in every incarnation.
In every incarnation. Okay, I didn't know if sometimes he wasn't British.
No, he's always British.
Okay,
His last name's Pennyworth. You don't come from anywhere else if your last name's Pennyworth.
Listen here, pal. don't last name shame people.
So we're getting that. That's a thing that's happening.
That's awesome. Do we know kind of a target date for when?
I don't know.
I mean, what's it called again? It's called Pennyworth.
Pennyworth.
I think Buttle's better.
I think Buttle is better too.
Buttle.
To Buttle.
Clearly, we weren't.
So it'll be
in
like
that board
Downton Abbey,
meeting.
except when they like open it up, there's going to be like somebody that'll come through, and then like at the end of the episode, they'll be like, "Boy, I hope that guy doesn't turn out to be the Penguin one day."
It'll be like Downton Abbey when they're like polishing stuff, but then he like lifts up the polishing tray, and underneath it is like all of this weaponry.
Yeah. And he goes, I buttle. Oh, so you're a buttler? Let's just call it a butler.
Oh, like he invented the entire
and then
profession.
They, slowly look at the camera and
like that,
smile.
like no one's ever been that before.
Yeah.
So you just live in a man's house and clean it, pretty much.
I don't know. A butler does not clean the house. Don't you know
Alfred
anything
does.
about what a butler does?
Don't you know anything about buttling?
Do you know anything about buttling?
Yeah.
Bro, do you even buttle?
Show title.
I can't believe that you got Siri to give you an answer to that.
Yeah.
With the way
He's
with the way you were
helpful.
talking to him. Her. Yeah.
Him.
What's his name? What do you call
His
him?
name is Siri.
What's his first name?
Siri.
Siri.
Yeah. No, he's like Prince. He doesn't have a first name
Oh,
or a
okay.
last name. He
Okay.
just has a name.
So you don't rename it.
Matt, we don't really do last names. When Ken and I have kids, they're
Siri-
just going to be their names.
Siri is gender fluid.
Yes, they are.
She's also he, she, they.
They.
They are also worldly.
Define worldly.
They can have many different accents.
I don't think that's what worldly means.
This is why people stop listening to us, guys. So, but Teen Titans Go to the Movies was fun because
Ken's really
it was-
trying to like keep us on track. We're
You guys are like
I
drunk
know,
or
I'm
something.
so sorry. You're putting out good
I'm
content
literally
and Matt
drunk with,
and I are
with exhaustion, tiredness.
I'm sorry, beloved. Continue. Titans.
Yes, beloved, please.
I wasn't even talking about Titans anymore.
Yeah, you were.
No, I was talking about Teen Titans Go to the Movies. I said it was good. It had good
We were
songs.
talking about buttling.
Songs got
Yeah.
stuck in my head for a long time.
Yeah, they were hella catchy.
Good cast. Look, Will Arnett.
Northern California? What are
Yeah,
you?
Will
Yeah,
Arnett. Like
you know.
Will Arnett.
Oh my God, I'll watch anything with Will Arnett.
Yeah, he's so good in it.
Will Arnett played the main bad
Is
guy.
it Kristen Bell in it too?
Kristen Bell's in it.
Yeah.
Kristen Bell.
Great.
In every way.
I know.
Yeah.
The Good Place.
You know what we were watching when you came in?
The Good Place.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Ooh.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
I'm laughing my ass off.
Have you seen her Enterprise commercials?
No, she's Enterprise commercial.
Yeah, she's the spokesperson. She's the spokeswoman for Enterprise.
But there are scenes in Forgetting Sarah Marshall with Kristen Bell and Mila Kunis and Russell
God.
Brand, and I've had that dream.
I have too.
It's a good dream.
Do you watch The Good Place, by the way?
No, but I've heard such good things about it.
First 2 seasons are on Netflix. Everyone I've introduced to that show has absolutely loved it.
Oh, cool.
Sweet.
Well, we'll check it out. We'll talk about it next week.
It is exactly how I picture the afterlife being.
Isn't the premise that like somebody who's sent what?
Okay, just don't spoil anything.
Isn't the premise that like somebody sent to heaven by mistake?
Yes, that is the premise of the
Okay.
first season.
Cool. All right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all we got. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, no, it's a great show. It's great actors, and Kristen Bell is.
Is amazing.
So, since the last time we recorded, Venom, the movie, came out from Sony.
Wow.
We are topical.
Yeah, it's been a while. Were you doing okay? So Venom came out, which is the first movie in Sony's. It came out, was critically panned, subsequently made a lot of money. So it lives in that weird place where it both sucked and didn't. It's like Schrodinger's Blockbuster, where it was both a smash hit and a total failure
It
at
was
the
so
same
bad that
time.
It was good.
Except,
At least I had really good popcorn when I went. Kind of movie.
Artisanal
I
popcorn.
guess like it wasn't like it made a whole lot of money because it was really, really bad. Like it was the people who went had a good time, thought it was pretty
It
good.
was no The Meg, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we've not seen that yet.
I know. I still really
Don't bother. Literally got up and walked out of the theater.
Are you
Really?
for real?
Oh yeah, and my girlfriend who I was seeing it with,
Yeah.
is
Like dirt, like
huge
dirt,
into sharks.
like-
Loves every shark movie ever made.
like during the movie. Like you got up and walked out during the movie.
got up and walked out
Okay.
a third of the way through the movie.
Holy
Could not watch it.
shit.
I thought you were gonna say like at the end after the credits.
And it,
Totally got up and walked out of the movie theater.
and the only other movie I've ever walked out of
Muppets
is-
Treasure Island.
No, I would never walk out.
That's
of
what
Muppet.
I walked out
Did
of.
you really?
My sister got scared and we had to leave.
Only other movie
Okay, that's
I've
not
ever-
what people mean when they say they walked out of a movie.
It's what I mean. It's the only context I have.
Only other movie I've ever walked out of was I Am Legend when they killed the dog. I was like, fuck this movie. I'm out.
That
literally
is the
walked-
saddest scene
That-
ever.
And I was
is-
not the only one. There were 5 other people that walked out of that theater.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tragic.
I even
Tragic
said,
scene.
I even turned and I was to my then wife and I was like, if they kill that fucking dog.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and she's like, we're leaving. And they fucking killed that dog. And I'm like, fuck this movie, I'm out. And other people got up and walked out too. It was in the same theater. I've walked out of a movie in the same actual physical theater.
Damn.
Yeah, that movie's bad. It is so bad.
Okay. Well,
Rainn
that's
Wilson
good to know.
cannot save that movie. And I love Rainn Wilson.
I do too.
Can't
He's
say
so
that movie.
great.
Have you seen it since that? Like, have you ever made it all the way, like the rest of the way through it?
No. Oh, I Am Legend? Or
Yeah, I Am
I'm
Legend.
I Am Legend, I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I did finish it.
With
I
like
skipped over
a
that
box
part.
of
No.
Kleenex and
I have the version with
Comfy
the original
blanket.
good ending. With the ending that they went
yeah.
back, that they tested, and then they went back and changed the ending so that now the movie makes no sense anymore. But
Yeah,
apparently
that
it
movie
tested
sucked.
better.
That movie sucked. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Yeah, with the grenade. No
Yeah,
spoilers, but there's a grenade involved.
Well, there is a version floating around out there now that is the original test version, and it's that ending does make the movie significantly better. But
yeah, don't.
But it's kind of like the director's
Go
cut of
with your gut,
Daredevil, where it's
directors,
like,
you know?
it's kind of like the director's cut of Daredevil, where it's like, well, yeah, it's better than what you put out, but like kind of too late now, right? Apparently, there's like 11 different cuts of Alexander because that movie was so bad that they kept recutting it and re-releasing it, and by the time they were finished, apparently it was a halfway decent movie at that point. But it's like, but how many times
The
did
damage
it? Like,
was
how many
done.
tries did it take for you to get that?
yeah.
So it's got that kind of thing.
And I think I've mentioned before that there are fan edits of the original Star Trek movie floating around.
Oh, yeah.
that are significantly better than the actual movie.
Because it cuts it down to have better pacing and
Yeah,
everything.
well, you don't have 10 minutes of the fucking Enterprise flying through the
flying. Ooh, special effects. Ooh.
Look how much money we got. Like,
Yeah.
like Paramount was fucking throwing money at that after Star Wars.
yeah, exactly.
The but one of the things that speaking of Star Trek, that's one of the franchises that's kind of split continuities. We've talked about that on the show before. The Venom movie, this being sort of the first part of the Spider-Man-less Spider-Man verse, which we've mentioned on here before, the way that Sony was planning with the Amazing Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man 2, that they were setting up this, like the Sinister Six movie, and they were building toward and leading toward a lot of stuff.
That's the Andrew Garfield version?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I pause for just a second on
Yeah.
that? Did Sony lend Spider-Man back to Disney and Marvel, or did they go ahead and relinquish it?
No, they arranged a deal where where they could use the character in exchange. The way the deal is structured with Sony, and this is good groundwork for what I'm getting into. As I understand it, the way the deal is structured is like this. Disney got Tom Holland's Spider-Man for five pictures in exchange for Disney making the movies, but Sony releases the movies. So Disney doesn't actually make any money from from anything they make with Spider-Man in it, including the Spider-Man movies. It's literally, we will make the movie, put it out, and then any money it makes goes to Sony.
Except for like Avengers, right?
Except for, well, right, yeah. So like the Spider-Man solo movies are funded by Marvel, and they make no money back from them. So Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, which are the two standalone Spider-Man projects, are basically world building for Marvel to no profit for them.
Damn.
But what they get from that is being able to use Spider-Man as a character in Civil War and Infinity War parts 1 and 2. Now here's the issue. That deal expires after Infinity War Part 2, or whatever they're going to call 2019's still unnamed We're like 8 months away from the release of this movie, and it still does not have a name.
Damn.
So, which that's kind of exciting to me. They've still not released. They've still not announced.
I don't know if exciting is the word I would use. We have panicked, maybe.
Why?
Because doesn't that mean that like they're having issues with like nailing down something?
Oh no, I guarantee you they know what it's called.
Oh, okay, got it.
They've just not released it.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, that makes me excited.
Like, because we have titles of movies that come after that. I suspect we will get it with Captain Marvel. I think when Captain Marvel comes out, they'll announce the movie after that. And supposedly it's because the title contains some kind of spoiler for things that are going to happen in Captain Marvel. So, so there are some, because it's something like, and hypothetically it's something having to do with the Skrulls, which are the main villain in the Captain Marvel movie.
The Skrulls?
Skrulls.
Okay.
Read a comic, Carly. Damn. So, there's
it just dripped of every sexist nerd out there. Like,
I know, right?
Fake comic book girl, read a real comic.
Carly.
Fan girl.
Which is completely unfounded because Carly's read like every issue of every comic.
Yeah, that's actually not true. Comics are not that's not really my fandom. I enjoy it, but that's not where I get off.
It's a whole different website.
It is.
As evidenced by I don't think you know what comics are for.
Not those kind of comics.
You're reading the wrong kind of comics.
I mean, I guess some comics. Technically,
Fables is.
I mean, some comic. I guess to some people, any comics, but
pretty much anything from Japan.
Yeah,
I guess. So, but right now, the fate of the Spider-Man character is a little bit uncertain because with Sony, with Venom making a lot of money, it's almost a guarantee that they will continue to pursue this Spider-Man verse, which involves Kraven the Hunter and Black Cat and Silver Sable and a lot of these like secondary and tertiary characters from the Spider-Man mythos, but like contained in this universe that doesn't feature Spider-Man in it. So Venom, like in the Venom movie, portraying Venom's origin, which is entirely based around Spider-Man as a character, but doing that without Spider-Man being part of Venom's origin basically meant they had to reinvent that character, which is fine. But it's kind of a weird thing to do that. And right now, it really is, again, Schrodinger's franchise, because they've got to leave the door open enough that eventually they can introduce Spider-Man into this universe. And at the same time, because they might, if they continue to put these movies out and build this universe, then in 2020, when that deal expires, they could just say, okay, Tom Holland and his Spider-Man are ours now, and how that's going to factor into the MCU, because they don't have rights to the MCU. Like, will they recast the character? Will Tom Holland continue to play the character, but it'll be an alternate version of the character, or will it be the version from the MCU, thereby retconning Venom and everything else into the MCU? It's a really I think we called it on here. Like at some point, this world building crap that they do across studios like this was going to come to a really confusing and really mucky head. Yeah. And that seems like what's happening with Sony, and this really ambiguous, like, is Marvel going to be able to renew their version of Spider-Man in the MCU to retain those rights? Like, will they be able to renew that deal? Will they want to pay for what that is? Or, and this is my personal theory, I've not heard it anywhere else, but I'm
you heard it here first.
I'm
folks.
thinking it's this. I'm thinking that's going to be Sony's attempt to make an exit. Like, okay, Marvel, either give us back Spider-Man, or you can have Spider-Man, but you've got to buy our entire Marvel catalog with all of these other, like, if you just don't want to use all of these other movies that we've made, that's fine, but buy them and shut them down yourself. Like, but Spider-Man is now part of this universe that we've built. You want Spider-Man and Venom and all those characters, you just got to buy all of it.
Marvel's like, that's no problem. We're now part of Disney and we have all the money.
Well, yeah, but they don't want to do that.
Why?
Well, because they're buying it from Sony. Like, this would be a huge...
Okay.
Yeah, and Sony's been trying to make an exit. We've mentioned on here, we've done a handful of shows over the last year about sort of the state of cinematic universes, and Sony's been wanting one for so long.
They have.
They've been trying Ghostbusters, and they tried.
Always the bridesmaid.
They've tried.
Did they really try Ghostbusters though? Because that was like a complete reboot.
I mean, they tried it in
They
like
could have made it.
No, but they made
way.
it like Ghost Core. Like they made they made it. They opened a department that was going to crank out Ghostbusters movies every year for the next forever.
for
And that
real?
movie didn't do well enough to justify that. So, same thing with The Mummy. That was going to be part of a
Is that Sony too? The whole monsters
yes.
dark
Yeah,
Mar-
Sony
The dark-
Columbia
monster-
Pictures.
the dark
Is
universe.
it still called
Dark
Columbia
uni-
Pictures, or have they dropped that completely?
I don't know. But they've been because those are, I mean, it's based on the Universal Monster franchise, but it's under license, and they were going to do a whole universe around that and didn't. So they really want this cinematic universe thing. They were going to do it with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Then that was, Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do very well. So it's constantly being mismanaged over at Sony, and they're not, I think part of the reason is because they don't really have anybody that wants to have a shared universe. They just want to make a shared universe so that they can sell it. Like they're looking at it from like a profitability model.
Yeah,
and
not
now
driven by the love of the craft.
and they've almost got, or even a love of the
Lovecraft.
properties.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, or the love of the properties.
So I think what's kind of happening here is
Unlike Disney, which, can I interject, Disney, in taking over Star Wars, then employed people that they employed fans to take part in this new one. So you bring that kind of energy of fans taking part in a beloved story.
for better and worse.
Yeah, but then we're like, well, we want that kind of energy, but we don't actually have the
But they
affection
don't
or love.
But they don't
for
want
this.
that. I think that's the problem. Is I would say they don't want that kind of energy. They want that kind of profit. So now what they found is that they're able to sort of accomplish that without
Are they though?
being successful, because all they're going to do is sell a property to Marvel based on a character instead of actually selling them something they're going to want to continue. It's like having a yard sale and saying you can have the thing out of that box that you want to buy, but you got to buy everything in the box too and pay for it all. And
yeah,
and
I would
that's-
buy the whole box. I mean,
There you go.
personally,
So invite Carly to all your yard sales. I was like, it's not my money.
I care.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, you can do weird things with continuities now, and audiences will follow along, I think, better than they used to. I mean, one of the most successful movies of October was the Halloween sequel, which was a sequel to the first Halloween movie that ignored, and they've been doing that for a while. I mean, they did when Superman Returns came out, they made that very clear that was a sequel to like the first two Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman movies, but not the third one and the fourth one, which that's kind of an interesting way to do that. I think, and this being a Halloween movie that ignores all of the Halloween sequels, but is a direct sequel to the first Halloween movie. So it's not a reboot. It's just a reboot. Like it's a new first sequel, which is kind of an interesting way to do that. And it's a gutsy way to do that, to say this isn't designed to be in continuity with all of the Halloween movies, just the first one. So it makes me kind of wonder, like, can they go back and do that to, like, with franchises and people follow along and not be confused? One of the fan petitions is, there are two fan petitions going on right now. One is for the industry to make to hire Tim Burton to make another Tim Burton Batman movie with Michael Keaton. And for it to basically disregard...
What? Wait, what? With Michael Keaton?
With Michael Keaton.
As like a co-producer, or as the role of Batman?
Like in the role of Bruce Wayne. Like maybe do it like a Batman Beyond
oh my god,
kind of
like
thing.
like an actual aged Batman movie.
Yes.
Oh, I would watch the hell out of that.
Like a Dark Knight Returns, Batman Beyond kind of like gritty, like senior.
No
Oh my God.
how old he is?
Yes, that would be amazing.
But he wouldn't necessarily have to be like. Have you? I mean, in the Dark Knight, in the Dark Knight Returns and Batman Beyond, he is an old man. That's the part of the point is that he's kind of like when they floated the idea of doing the Dark Knight Returns.
Michael Keaton's really old now.
He can't be older than Liam Neeson.
The main fan casting,
Neeson's pretty old
the
now,
main
too.
fan,
and Liam Neeson's still doing
main
action
the-
films.
but the main fan casting for Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond movie has been in recent years Clint Eastwood.
yeah, I'd watch that too.
Whoa.
Okay, for those of you,
Clint Eastwood was like senile dude on stage talking to an empty chair.
yeah, for those of you
That
not
was like 8 years ago.
for those of you not familiar with the with Dark Knight Returns or Batman Beyond, Bruce Wayne does not put on the bat suit in these stories and jump off rooftops. This is Bruce Wayne years after winning his crusade.
Yeah, that'd be
and revisiting
fascinating.
that world years after when everyone Jim Gordon has died and everything is
Jim died?
Everyone dies eventually.
well he's old when
Few men
he's-
truly live.
oh wow.
I promise I'm not.
This
high
is what happens.
episode,
This is
guys.
what happens when you scroll when you're browsing the internet during the.
Oh,
That is
called out.
for something I wasn't doing.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, the
Lovers quarrel.
it's just okay. All right.
Wow.
Yeah,
you guys should fight
Yeah.
like right here on the air.
Okay. So anyway, so that's one of the ideas. I'm done. I feel like I'm the.
So uncomfortable. It's so funny.
I'm glad Matt's enjoying himself.
Right. It is. Oh, that was right there. It was delicious.
I feel like I lost you guys
Good.
somewhere at Batman Beyond.
No.
No, I was right there. I'm just in a really weird mood tonight.
Okay. Well, Carly, it doesn't have any. Yeah. Well, Carly, it's not a. I don't know what that
Are
was.
you about to be condescending?
And Matt, it's not old Batman.
Yeah.
It would be a.
he just pulled off being condescending to both of us, Matt.
I'm sorry. I thought you guys. Okay.
No, don't do
Matt is crying.
I'm not. No. No, I am sincerely confused as to how to my entire thing here was predicated on the notion that you guys had heard of The Dark Knight Returns. It's one of the.
Not seen that movie
It's not.
or TV show or whatever it is.
Comic.
Oh no, I haven't. I certainly haven't.
Okay.
Do you understand how little time I have?
In the 1980s, Frank Miller wrote one of the most popular comic books of all time,
Yes.
called The Dark Knight Returns.
Got you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. None of what I just said makes any sense. If you I'm realizing now that I've been speaking total Greek the last 10 minutes.
I mean, there were other people who are listening who
Oh.
quite enjoyed it.
Okay. Tweet at me at.
Obviously, Carly wasn't one of them. Reading the internet while she's.
She might have been looking this up.
Nope.
No. She was on
Tinder.
Sephora.com or Tinder. Tinder.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
What? Maybe. So what I'm kind of wondering is if DC was going to do something like that, if they could do something with their mainline
Michael Keaton.
Well, with their DC movies.
I mean, but
Because right now they've got Wonder Woman, which is great, and the only problem with Wonder Woman is that it's part of this continuity that's just horrible. So could you release new movies with Superman, Batman recast, and just say Wonder Woman by itself is part of this new continuity, but not any of the other movies we've made with that character?
Can't they do whatever the hell they want?
Kinda.
I'm telling you right now, if you make a movie with Michael Keaton and it's like a fucking clip movie of hey, Alfred, remember that time that we blah, blah, I wouldn't watch that. Just make a Batman movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
It's not going to be like it's not going to be like a mid-season episode of like Legend of the Seeker where they're like, "Hey, we're going to have flashbacks the whole episode."
Okay, this is
Remember 6 episodes
okay.
ago.
That's not how The Dark Knight Returns goes. Okay.
Matt is constructing this really awful
version of this
movie in
is them
his
just
head.
sitting around.
Like,
I know. And would you be surprised if Warner Brothers made that movie?
Yeah, I would.
I wouldn't be surprised.
oh, Warner Brothers? No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, have you seen the latest Batman movies? Like,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
a
no,
shit
that's not
show.
what they would do. But would that be a way? Not the we're like, moving on from the Tim Burton Batman.
Sure.
Could they do the Halloween thing with, say, Wonder Woman?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And just say, like, that movie is now in continuity, but none of the other movies, but like Justice League, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, like, are no longer in continuity.
They need to do
Gal
something.
Gadot as Wonder Woman will now be in a brand new movie with completely different actors as Superman and Batman, and would that confuse?
I mean, they've already kind of been doing that, and like,
would that confuse? Like, would audiences be confused? Like, could they do?
No.
Or would audiences be like, "Oh, thank you for
Exactly.
like trying for stopping, like, thank you for giving up trying to polish the turd that is this cinematic universe you guys have built."
Let's
around.
retrieve the thing
That
I
would
dropped
be-
in the toilet and move on.
That would be the reaction of like the DC nerds. They would be like, "Oh, well, thank God for not doing it." The rest of America would be like, "Oh, it's Batman and Superman." Like, they don't really give a shit about who's
The
playing
rest
Batman
of them,
and Superman.
yeah, the rest of
Yeah,
America
but-
wouldn't notice that something was different.
honestly wouldn't.
Well, but what I guess what I'm
Have you
asking,
met Americans?
but I guess what I'm asking is, would that be confusing, even if they recast Batman and Superman, to realize that even though the same actor is playing Wonder Woman, that it's a different continuity. I don't mean just continuing with this continuity and recasting those actors.
Oh god,
I'm
it's
talking,
not like what they did in Spartacus.
No, I'm
by
talking about them
recasting Flavia.
rebooting the entire universe, but keeping, because a lot of times we assume if you're going to stop this garbage fire that is the DC continuity now and reboot it, then you have to start again from scratch. What I'm saying is, can you keep
Okay, in
Wonder
that case, I
Woman-
would say no. Like, that would be confusing.
like
Have Wonder Woman split off into her own thing, and then reboot. Wait, first of all,
but it worked with Halloween,
First
is what
of
I'm
all,
saying.
let's please give comic book movies a little bit of a rest for a little while. Like, let's come back to it in a day, in like a.
Not
couple
going to
of
happen.
years.
We're sucking on that teat way too hard.
I know, and they're going to suck it dry. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
and DC's
they're going to
not
suck
gonna
it
get
dry
any-
before they let it go.
And DC's not going to get any milk because,
yeah.
like,
Well,
they haven't been getting any milk. I'm taking this analogy.
Let's just go
way
with
too
it. Just
far.
roll with it,
But like,
man.
all the milk is being given to the Marvel side.
this really
DC,
is the most uncomfortable
look,
episode we have ever done.
I tried to get away from this,
Wow. Okay.
but like whatever they're doing now is not working. Obviously, so
But I don't feel like it hurt the Halloween franchise for them to release a movie that has Jamie Lee Curtis in her original role and it just ignored the rest of the continuity they had built and said,
Right.
this is a movie that is
Yeah, but it's
when
the
was the last
Halloween,
Halloween movie?
franchise. It's not
Like
Jamie
freaking
Lee
DC.
Curtis.
like 8 or 9 years ago.
Exactly.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, give it some time before you reboot it.
But if you reboot it, can you make it a sequel to, like, could you release, for example, an Alien movie, because that's another franchise they keep kind of trying to make work. Could you release an Alien movie that says the first Alien movie by Ridley Scott is still part of this universe, but the rest of the Alien movies never happened?
You know that this has already been done.
Yeah, but
Do you know do you think about this? This has already been done.
they did it with Superman Returns. They did it with the Halloween movie that just came out.
Jurassic Park did this. Jurassic Park
yeah,
just
you're right.
released 2 new movies that essentially
Yeah.
ignore every movie except for the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Including having some of the same characters play play the same roles.
I disagree though, because they don't neglect that they don't neglect those movies, like they don't reference those movies, but they
That's
don't
essentially just ignoring them.
well, they ignore them, but they don't directly say like those movies did not take place.
They do by omission, I think. I mean, they don't. If you kept those movies, then no one would have gone to the new Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like there was a dinosaur that was like running around LA, you know, like it's like we're just going to
San Diego.
That. Was it San Diego? Wherever it was, Southern California, SoCal.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but I mean, it's kind of like Doctor Who does this every season. Like Doctor Who picks and chooses what is maintained in continuity. And, and Doctor Who even makes fun of it. First of all, if you're going to do this,
just lean into it.
Lean into it and throw a joke in there.
Yeah.
Because that's what Doctor Who does. Doctor Who, how many times have aliens shown up over London and like this has been this huge spectacle, and then suddenly two seasons later we completely forget that.
Well, Marvel does it all the time. I mean, Marvel has retconned so many things. Like when you watch the MCU from beginning to end, which we did last year.
Yeah.
When you watch the MCU from beginning to end, you start to notice things that are contradicted later, and things like Stephen Strange being like on the Shield watch list or something early on, and then later we learn in the Doctor Strange movie it's like that doesn't make sense. Like a lot of things are contradicted in terms of
that's what you get when you make a giant universe, and I honestly,
Steve Rogers being trapped in the ice in the Incredible Hulk, where it's like that isn't where they ended up putting him, where he was trapped.
I'm telling you, man, like the MCU is it's just gonna fall apart on itself. It's gonna just implode because is it
gonna implode, or is it
nobody
gonna
cares.
Continue to keep doing
like it's a lot like
new
comics
incarnations?
It's a lot like comics. Like nobody cared. Like those are things that internally were retconned, and people were just like, oh, because they hadn't made that part up yet. So it was like it was not really it's free to sort of play a little bit fast and loose because fans are surprisingly more laid back about that kind of thing than they typically are with anything. Meanwhile, we have a group of fans trying to like raise crowdfunding to remake The Last Jedi into like the movie that they want to make, not understanding how Hollywood works, but
also nerds fucking let it run.
But if they
Star Wars nerds are the worst about
but if they were to do that, would there then be like hypothetically, if that were successful, which it never would be, but if that were successful and they somehow raised the money and got the rights and did what they wanted to do, could we have a branching continuity from that point, or would that just be so ridiculously confusing?
It'd be so ridiculously confusing.
I don't think it would. Here's the thing, and this goes back into what I'm always talking about the power of mythos and how what we're experiencing is just the latest incarnation of the storytelling that we've always done as humans. This actually plays into partly that book that I was talking about last episode with Sapiens. Humans have always taken these shared stories and continued telling them based on the current continuity and completely diverged and gone new directions. If you ever look into any of the ancient myths, you'll read like a synopsis and it will say oftentimes like, it'll be like, oh, he has 2 origin stories. Here's the first one that developed here. Here's the second one that developed here. Like this is just our version of that. The really weird part is that we're in this very, subjective culture where we have things like rights to ideas and like proprietary rights to ideas and stories, which is something that the people like our ancestors that talked about these stories would have found not just weird, but like they wouldn't even have had a paradigm to understand what we're talking about.
I mean, this is basically what Star Trek did when they they solved this problem because they didn't want to have to deal with a bunch of Star Trek nerds that know every little bolt and screw that's on the USS Enterprise. Like, oh well, we're just going to split the whole thing off and start our own new continuity. So maybe they could do something.
And there were people that were confused by that, but.
Were there people that were confused, or were there people?
I mean, people. I'm sure there were individuals who were confused, but most people didn't care. The hardcore fans got it. The casual fans
didn't know enough to know that something had changed.
Exactly. So it became sort of self-correcting, and I think if they started a new continuity and Gal Gadot played Wonder Woman, eventually, like I think people would be confused, but then they would figure it out. I think they would go, and if DC really wanted to do that, they could take Wonder Woman and say, we launched her into an alternate continuity and make it like a soft reboot, like with like they did with Star Trek. Where they basically say, okay, we're going to make this internally consistent where it all technically exists in the same universe as the crap balls we've done so far.
No one seems to have given a shit about the DC universe up until now, so I say just do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. It can't be worse than what you have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and there is, by all accounts, a fan play that continues the Harry Potter universe that is in place of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is the East End musical that J.K. Rowling wrote that by many accounts is just not very good. And a fan out in California did actually staged a play that was unofficial and obviously can't make any money and that kind of thing, but is
Harry Potter.
but it was very by most fan accounts it's like the sequel that everyone wished it had been. So if that works, then I'm sure someone out there has written like their fanfic, Star Wars movie that's not The Last Jedi, but
where do these people come up with all this time? Like, I don't have time to write an entire, I just don't.
They have hobbies, Matt.
I wish I had time for hobbies.
We've been podcasting for the last 2 hours.
It's true.
And somebody somewhere, someone's listening to this going, where do they have time for this? Yeah. We're just like everybody else that fights about their fandom. We just do it on tape because.
Yeah, we'll go with tape. Hold on.
We're egotistical.
The reel has gotten
Yeah, exactly.
Run that back. Rewind that.
That was really good.
It was okay.
I'm a girl. I can't do sound effects.
Oh my god! I can't do sound effects.
I can't. It's so impressive when guys just do that.
Girls
How do you guys
can't
do
sound
that?
effects.
I can't do sound effects. I can't. I tried to do a drum roll earlier in the episode and literally went.
Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting. We talked a little last episode about how Marvel kind of has two continuities already going with its movies having to be internally consistent with the TV shows being
they're supposedly the same
optional.
universe, but yeah.
The TV shows are technically in the same larger universe, but nothing in the movies can ever reference the TV shows, which is it's kind of complicated. But I appreciate that since I've long stopped watching any of the TV shows. Someday I'll set aside 6 months of my life and go back and catch up on all 500 Marvel episodes.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
Nope.
No, you won't.
Nope, won't ever happen.
All right.
By then there will be new, cooler things.
I'm thinking on a flight to New Zealand, I might get all caught up on Marvel.
Fuck no, man! I'm just gonna watch Lord of the Rings on repeat. Maybe the TV series will be out by then.
How long do you think a flight to New Zealand is? Each of you?
It's a couple hours. 48 minutes. It's Asheville from here. It's Asheville.
We've actually mapped it out.
We have.
Okay, I apologize.
We've totally done that.
Ken has mapped it out.
It's Asheville to Atlanta to LA to Honolulu to Sydney to New Zealand.
What airline are you on?
Matt's about to school Ken on
Spirit.
his...
Good luck.
Oh, that would be a hell of a flight.
First class.
I mean, well, why don't you just fly Air New Zealand from Los Angeles straight to Auckland or Christchurch?
I didn't know that was a thing. Sounds expensive.
You didn't know Air New Zealand was a thing?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I think maybe Matt should plan that part of our honeymoon.
I mean, did you do the whole thing on Delta? Is that why you're doing it that way?
Probably American Airlines. That's who our
Probably
card
American,
is with.
yeah.
Jesus Christ. No, don't do that.
Wow.
I like when
Now
Matt
who's
gets
being condescending?
uppity.
Dude, have you flown American recently?
Taking
Yeah, it was kind of...
taking turns being condescending this episode.
Guys, have you met us? That should be our tagline.
Yeah.
Figure sold
So-
separately. We're kind of condescending.
So what you're saying is it needs to be a one world partner. In which case,
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
American Airlines is one world. So if you're gonna, American Airlines does not fly to New Zealand. I'm pretty sure. So you would be flying it. You might book it through American, but you'd be flying on a partner airline.
Oh, got
which
it.
is
Okay.
Their alliance is called One World.
Okay.
Which is also British Airways. So
Oh, okay.
you could maybe do like U.S. to London and then London to Auckland, probably.
Hey guys,
via
we
Singapore.
Oh my gosh, we forgot to end the episode.
We're just having a little conversation.
Thanks for
Shit,
tuning
we
in. We're
did it
glad to be back.
again.
We'll see you next week. I'm Ken.
I'm Matt.
I'm so drunk.
Until then, bye. Figures Sold Separately is a multiverse podcast produced by TurboFanProductions.com. Please remember to subscribe to the show and follow and talk with us on Facebook and Twitter. Our theme music is by I Fight Dragons. Hear more about them at ifightdragons.com. Figures Sold Separately is copyright 2018, all rights reserved.